Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book-loving, notebook-hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of bookology and leading literate lives. We talk all things books and reading and notebooks and writing, mixed in with mindful practices and creativity to create lives we love. You can expect regular weekly episodes focused on 3 books you need to know about on a bookish theme and how to bring those themes to life in our actual lives too. You can also expect author interviews, notebooking inspiration, and topics to help us grow through what we go through and take inspired action to make our lives better. So grab a notebook and your TBR list and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Get Literate podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie, and I am so happy you're here. I have met some new people and some new places recently. So if you are new to the podcast, welcome. Maybe you are here because you heard me on another podcast. And if so, thank you so much for taking the time to come over to this one. Maybe we connected over my recent Kid Lit Love book tasting. That was a fun virtual book tasting where we came together to celebrate children's literature. Or maybe you've been coming to some of my local in-person summer events. I've held workshops on restorative reading and have even hosted some restorative reading studio sessions. I love exploring the power of restorative reading and writing to make life better. And if you've been here for a while, you know that that's true. But there are basically 3 ways for those that are new to the podcast. There are 3 ways that restorative reading and writing can boost our health, increase our wellness, and just make life feel better. On the first level are the physical acts of reading and writing and the physical benefits that come from it. So just 6 minutes of reading a day or a 15 to 20-minute writing session a couple of times a month, that is enough to kickstart the restorative benefits of reading and writing in our physical bodies. Our heart rate slows, our blood pressure slows, our muscles relax. We actually go into a relaxing state because of that meditative left to right movement of our eyes over and over and over again. And if you do that for 30 minutes, especially reading, then you can get the same benefits on your parasympathetic nervous system as 30 minutes of yoga. So right away, no matter where you're reading or what you're reading, as long as you are reading and writing, then you're going to reap those physical benefits. Now, the next layer comes into play when we are careful and intentional about what we are reading and writing. So which books, which genres, which notebook prompts, those matter too. We automatically get that first level of benefit just by engaging in the act. But when we read books that are just right for us in this season of life and who we want to be and how we want to feel and what we want to do, and we pair those with notebooking prompts that helps us dive into explore those same things, magic starts to happen. You start to feel emotional pulls. You start to feel these little tugs. You start to get these little ideas. You connect with the book. You see yourself in the book, or you see something different in the book that you might be able to apply to your own life. So you start to get a greater level of emotional benefit, of emotional support. And this is where books are even used in actual therapy sessions because they can help you see things, explore things, release things that you couldn't do without hearing someone else's story. And then there's one more layer. We're doing the reading and writing. We are reading and writing things that are most important and applicable to us in this moment in time. As you do, and you listen to those nudges and those emotional pulls that come from reading and writing the right stuff, then the next step is to take inspired action, small steps, small micro steps, and in some cases, maybe perhaps big steps. But taking that inspired action from the polls that you got while reading, whether that is something small like baking a new recipe, writing down a quote you love and sitting with it for a little bit, texting a friend, those small actions help you choose differently in your actual life. And when you do those actions, you are typically putting yourself in places or in front of people or in experiences that make your life a little bit bigger. And so you are building your life community along with your reading and writing community. And all of the research that we know about people who get to year 100 and look back and say, am I happy? What made me happy? That number one thing, that number one factor, meaningful relationships. That's what does it. And our reading and writing can be catalysts to making important changes in our actual life, which then lead us to these bigger connections, these bigger communities, this more meaningful kind of interaction. It's this third layer of benefits. It's this third element that I really want to explore today. The power that a book can have connect us to a new idea, to a new way of being, and to new people to interact with. Because I have said on this podcast before, and I've said it often on my other podcast, Kid Lit Love, book people are the best people. And this is evident to me time and time again. We often feel an instant kinship with other readers. When we know someone has read the same book and enjoyed it, it's like this instant crackly connection. We just start talking. It reduces a lot of that discomfort or newness of meeting someone new because you have a through line. You can talk books. I've also found that book people, they are really willing and open and ready to learn and grow. They want to know more about themselves and how they work. They want to know more about other people. They want to know things about the world. They are typically more empathetic because of that stance that they take towards their books. And what I love is that those connections, they often run deep. They stay with us, right? When you meet someone and you chat about a book, you likely might continue that connection in a book club, in a social media post. I know I have so many wonderful bookish people that I connect with on a daily basis, and I have never met them in person. Some of them I have never even met on Zoom. And these connections, they just feel so good and they have enriched my life, and I wouldn't have made them without a book. That's the magic that I want to talk about today, because it is my goal, it is my mission to spread this message of how essential reading and writing is to our wellness, our overall wellness, to as many people as possible. I do that through this podcast. I do that through my workshops. I do that through other events. But I've got to say, my favorite way to do this is one-to-one. It's one reader to another reader talking books. And I'm hoping that you already know about this project that I do. But if you don't, today is the day I want you to know about it, because I'm going all in on it in a big way, and I need your help. I call it my Snail Mail Book Project. Who doesn't love physical mail? Who doesn't love going to the mailbox and finding something other than junk mail, other than a bill, other than a flyer, but something that someone put in the mail just for you? Add that to the joy that comes with book matchmaking, and this project is something that I love. I love. So here's how it works. If you were to go on my website at alitlife.com and you were to click on the tab at the top that says free literate love, you'll see all sorts of free goodies that I have there in order to spark your reading and writing life. But if you scroll down, you will see my Snail Mail Book Project. All you have to do is click that link. When you click the link, you will get a very simple Google form. It asks for your name, your email, your physical snail mail address, and a couple of questions about your preferences for your reading life. Particularly, what genres do you love the most? Do you like reading adult literature, middle grade, children's literature? Are there any things that are off limits or that you want me to know? Very quick questions that often take 3 minutes or less. And when you submit that Google form, it comes right to me and I read it and I sit and I think and I scroll through the mental catalog of all of the books that I have read and I know about. And I think, what book would be perfect for this person in this moment in time? I come up with that book title, and then I take out my beautiful postcard created by Christy Zimmer. If you don't know Christy's notebooking, please go online to christyzimmer.com and take a look. She brought a vision of a postcard to life for me. So I want you to imagine what an old-fashioned library card looks like. Those old cards that you used to stamp and write your name when it was time to borrow. I love them. What Christy did for me is to recreate the look of an old-fashioned library card blown up to postcard size. On the front is a space to record the author, the title, the date, and a space of why I think this book is perfect for you. On the back, I give you a quick personal message, and then I send it off in the USPS postal mail, and that book recommendation is on its way to you. Now, you can choose to get a notification from me using that email address you provided that says, hey, there is going to be book mail in your mailbox soon. So you might want to start peeking in your mailbox, because depending on when you submit your postcard request and how many people have done it, I may or may not get to it very quickly. I recently had an influx of submissions, which I am so excited about. And I typically write one per day. So that means some people might have to wait 1 or 2 or even 3 weeks, depending on how many requests are already there. So I like to send you an email that lets you know, I didn't forget about you. It's coming and it's on the way. This project has brought me so much joy. So much joy. I love connecting with a reader one-to-one. I love meeting, and I'm using meeting in air quotes because I don't actually meet them. I just think, and then I send a book from my reading heart to yours out into the world for you to find it. So you know someone out there is thinking of you and recommended something that you might like. It's just the most feel-good project that I've ever done. And I've been learning a couple of things along the way. Number one, book people, we are really interesting people. My favorite thing to learn is when people will write a little bit about themselves so that I know which book to choose for them. And I've got to tell you, there are some really interesting people out in the world that I would never have known about or ever had the chance to meet without this project. We have the coolest hobbies. We are creative. We are doing big things. We are going through a lot of stuff and we are doing it anyway. I've just loved meeting so many different people and all the things that interest them. And I wish that I could just insert myself into their neck of the woods so that I could meet them in person, because I have a feeling that we would be fast friends. I have sent postcards across the United States, to Canada, and even internationally. I've sent book postcards to Romania, to Australia, and to New Zealand. Now, I will say that in the beginning of my journey, I didn't realize that you needed a couple of different special stamps in order for those postcards to reach those other countries. So if you're listening and you're in another country and you're going, hold up, I submitted my request like a month ago and I never got it, please come back. Please submit it again, because I know now. I know better, and I can get those book postcards to you. And I keep your privacy private. That didn't make sense, but I keep your information private. So once I am done sending you your book postcard, I delete that entry. It doesn't need to be anywhere on my computer where your address is. So once I send one out, I can't go back and see where I sent them previously. So if you're missing one, go back, submit the form, do it again. I've also learned, as I guessed, that people really, really, really love snail mail. I have had people send me a message on social media or reply to the email that I sent to them and say, I felt like a kid going to the mailbox and seeing that oversized postcard written in beautiful, colorful ink with a book that was just for me. I felt special. I felt excited. And I'm hearing that they are putting them up on their fridge. They are tacking them on their bulletin boards, and some of them are using them as a bookmark to remind themselves of this fun bookish connection that they have. The best part is that those connections that I am making with the people who take the time to reach out and let me know they loved it and let me know they loved the book, those connections are lasting. I'm finding new friends on social media. I have new email buddies. I am voxing people, voice messages back and forth because these book projects sparked something. It sparked a more meaningful connection. I talk a lot about our reading and writing circles. And Brad Montague has this beautiful book, The Circles All Around Us. It is our job to stretch and broaden and widen and draw bigger circles for ourselves. And this book project is doing that for me. I'm also learning a lot about myself as a reader. I have my go-to books and my go-to genres, hands down. I am realizing which books have made the most impact in my life, and I'm keeping track of the books that I recommend and why, so that I can start to uncover some of those themes and patterns in my life. And I'm starting to develop a top 10 of literally all time, at least my lifetime, of books that I have read. It reminds me of Anne Hood's book, The Book That Matters Most. What is your book history? What are those books that have touched you in such important ways that you know they have made an impact on your life? Doing this book project and sending these postcards all over the world, I'm figuring this out. Now, I'm also learning that when you put book energy out into the world, if you put good energy of any kind out into the world, you always get it back. Always. It doesn't fail. I will send a book postcard out, and then later that day, I'll get a text from a friend of a new book I should read. I will be tagged on social media. I will get an email. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. And so I love sending these postcards because it makes me feel good to put that energy out. And I know that people just respond in wonderful ways that just make me feel good. Now, I also, when I send these book postcards out, I snap a picture of me putting it into my mailbox, because even though I want that one recipient to feel really, really good that this book was chosen for them, I do want other people to know about the book too. And I want other people to know about the project. So I snap a picture of the postcard, the front side, of course, not the private information, but the side of the postcard that recommends the book. I snap a picture of it and I put it on my stories. So if you follow me, make sure you take a peek at my stories, because you will likely see these book postcards, and I have highlighted them, at least on Instagram, so that I can collect them and keep them over time. Now, I am likely up to maybe 75, 80 postcards. I did not do a good job in the beginning of tracking this. This actually started as a holiday project where I wanted to send 25 holiday books out to people so that they could get some book snail mail in a busy holiday season. And then it just continued because I didn't want to stop. So I'm not exactly sure what number I am at, but I know where they go because I tracked them. I have a Google map where I put a pin in my map of every single postcard I have sent. Now, admittedly, I didn't do this in the beginning, so I am missing some, but since I had that idea and wanted to keep track, I've done a really good job of it. And guess what? I want to do more. I want to do more, and I want to start over from day one. And I have a very ambitious goal. I have a very ambitious goal to send 365 book postcards out into the world. Yes, that is a book postcard a day. I need your help. I need your help because I do not have 365 people in the queue of my Google form, and I want to. I was so inspired recently by a podcast episode I listened to. If you don't listen to the Windowsill Chats with Margaret Tantow, and you are a creative person or someone who just wants to learn more about really cool people doing really cool and brave things for themselves, then you need to listen. It's Windowsill Chats. And there was a recent episode that I was just so taken with. I listened to it more than once. The title of it is Finding Beauty in Everyday Life: The Power of a Creative Practice and the Art of Noticing by Mary Jo Hoffman. And basically, Mary Jo set off on a project to take a daily photograph of something in nature. She's very creative and artistic, so these are much more beautiful than my quick snapshots with my phone would be. But she made it a habit to do this every day. And as she did that over time, things changed for her. She learned about herself. She learned about nature. She learned about the connections she was making because she was posting them on social media. And I just loved the idea of documenting my project that has emerged in the same way so that I could really see the impact it could have. So 365 days of book postcards. I'm not going to put too much stress on myself that if I miss a day, I'm going to abandon the project completely. No, but I also am not going to be the person that sits down and writes 5 different book postcards in a half an hour and then puts them on social media as if they were sent out in the same day. I do not want to do that. I want to have a daily 5 to 10 minute practice where I connect with one reader one-to-one energetically, I guess, because I'm not meeting them, and send off this personalized gift in the world. So if I'm going to do that, this is a call for help. If you have not requested your free book postcard yet, please do. Please go sign up. Go to alitlife.com, click on that free Literate Love button, and fill out that Google form. If you know someone who would love a book postcard in their physical snail mail, then take a screenshot of this episode and text it to them. Or if you're in your podcast platform, maybe you click that little arrow that says share and you send it to a friend, an email or text. Or if you really want to go big, help me spread the word by sharing it on social media. You could still take a screenshot of the episode and share it on whatever platform you'd like. Or you can go to my social media feeds. I am at AfinitoLit on just about all of them. Find the post for this episode, like it, share it, post it, retweet it, all of the things. Or better yet, go in the comments and tag all of the bookish people you know who need a book postcard. I promise you, it is such a fun little jolt of energy when you go to that mailbox and you get something that is handwritten and personally made for you. And just imagine the connections that we could make over the course of this project. It is literally lighting up my day. Literally lighting up my day. And I love the connections I am making. So this episode today was a description of that project and a huge cry for help to get as many people do this Google form as possible. You'll see me mention this regularly on the podcast now. You will see me post about it regularly now because I need to keep the people coming so that I can have 365 recommendations. Now, do know that if these submissions are pouring in, you might not get your postcard right away because I am going to do one per day, literally as a part of my daily practice, but know that it's coming. Know that you'll get a notification, and won't it be fun when you have forgotten all about this postcard project to go to the mailbox, open it up and see it and get even more excited because you forgot that goodness was coming. That is what I want to send you. So thank you. Thank you for being part of this community. If you are new here, thank you for joining us in this community. And thank you for what I hope you will do to spread the word about this 365 days of book snail mail project that I'm embarking on. I will keep you posted on my progress. I will likely have later episodes talking about what I am learning through this process. And who knows, maybe a couple articles or an ebook or an actual book might be in the works to help me capture and celebrate this project that I love so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing this, and I will see you inside the next episode of the Get Literate podcast. Until then, go to alitlife.com, click Free Literate Love, scroll, and click on that book postcard so that I can send one to you. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. Plus, if you want more, you might like to join my Patreon community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, bibliotherapy book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking challenges, live events, giveaways, and much, much more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing. If you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast, or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and notebookish community too. Thanks for listening.